I don't think I've seen LeBron yet. No. I went to a couple Heat games, but never like when they were playing against the team that Lakers. Lakers. Yeah. I think I saw like Giannis. I saw a couple games against the Nuggets.
I just know LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah, I just know LeBron. Because it's not a sport there.
Yeah.
It's really not a sport. But anyway, Brett, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm good. You've been on a little travel trip recently?
Yeah.
We last saw each other in London.
Been on a pretty long travel trip. 3 weeks is a long time away from the workstation, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
I don't know actually. Do you have like a central setup somewhere at home? Like, because you go around a lot of places too, right? So do you have like somewhere do you have like home?
Yeah. So like I typically trade out of my office. I guess everyone says that, but for me, I'm not really like one of these people that has like 15 monitors and all this stuff. I just have my single monitor, my production monitor, which is just like Discord, email, like more. It's more vertical screen than wide. But I only look at 2 charts and I can have both of them on one screen. So I don't have multiple screens or anything like this. So
you don't need 12 screens to be successful trading.
Well, apparently, Brett, according to the internet, I'm a gambler, so maybe you do. But
so you need 1 screen to gamble, 12 to trade. Got it.
Yeah. But I agree with that sentiment. It is sometimes hard to be away from home for a prolonged period of time because we build routine, right?
Yeah.
So but I mean, you live in Florida, so I imagine it's even harder to take yourself away to gloomy...
I'm on vacation all the time.
Yeah, take yourself away to gloomy Europe. Right, let's start simple. What's your background? What pulled you into trading and I guess now entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I always loved the idea of working to make my own money in the sense of, and sounds pretty generalized, but in the sense of if I put in more work, I want to get more for it, right?
Yeah.
When you work at a typical normal hourly job or salary job without some type of commission or without some type of bonus structure, you could work your ass off and sure you might get a promotion, but in the immediate time frame, a month, week, whatever that you're putting your time in, you're not getting anything extra out of it, right? Besides obviously the love of the industry you're in and people that you're working with. But so I actually started as a cashier. This dates me back now. Let's see, when are we going to? 2010, I think was my first job, or 2008, somewhere around there, between 08 and 10. And I was working as a cashier at Sears. I don't even know if you know what that is.
No, I don't know.
This is like, it's one of the OG hardware / appliance stores.
Okay.
They're not in business now.
So it's like a Home Depot.
Yeah, kind of very small scale. More they didn't sell like screws and all that stuff. They had like some clothes, but they sold appliances. It's kind of like Best Buy, but instead of electronics, they also had clothes and home goods and stuff. Yeah. Kind of like Bed Bath & Beyond with appliances type shit. So anyway, I worked there. I think I was making, I don't know, anywhere from like $8 to $10 an hour, something like that. And they had a way, if you got people to sign up for the credit card, you got an extra $2.
Oh, okay.
So, that was my first taste of a little commission. How can I do that?
Sales, yeah.
Right? So a little bit of sales in me. So anyway, did really well there for a cashier. I'd get a couple credit card apps every day, stuff like that. And I like the goal of putting a goal for myself, or the idea of setting a goal for myself, right? To get extra income on top of just, the base. So eventually I moved up there. I worked in like the tools department, and then there you got a lower base. So I went down to like $5 or $6 an hour, but you got a big commission, a percentage on selling things like, I was in like treadmills, tractors, shit like that, all kinds of things. And, so that kind of instilled in me the habit of, you put a lot of time into what you're doing, or you learn about the product that you're selling. You are good talking to people and really just connecting with others. And, that's going to reward you in the end, right? Because you're not selling always the product, you're also selling yourself, right? And it's important to have like someone good behind the product you're selling. So anyway, how does this tie all back into trading? Basically, what that instilled in me and what I started from then was only ever working a job that was always commission or, bonus based, something that I could put the time in and effort and I get rewarded for it. So when I was first brought into trading, I was working at a insurance office, and I was still doing, it was only commission there, but I was one of the top reps, and I had 2 screens at the time. One screen was, typical stuff to sign people up. I had script memorized, all that. I could talk with people about it. My other screen was crypto at the time, which was going crazy.
Yeah.
This is like 2017, 16, right? So that first Bitcoin hype, Bitcoin boom. I got into trading around then. I saw it like on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. I paid to join a group, and I decided, hey, these guys are doing it. Why can't I do it? Went through the whole process, losing a lot of, getting lucky, losing it all the same week.
Yeah.
Did that for quite a few months. Was putting every check into it. And then, until the one thing that actually turned my trading around was actually looking at one of those compound interest calculators.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, like back in the day though, there was a lot of people who, before like all these social media and reels and different things, like people would say, oh, if you just make 1% of your money a day, this is where you'll be. That was like the way to sell people back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember it clear as day, to be honest.
And I looked at that and I'm like, all right, I don't have to make 10% a day. I don't have to do all these crazy numbers. Let me just try to do, a 0.5%.
Yeah.
Something small, right? Or aim for like a weekly goal instead of a daily one. And that's when I started to like really lock into my trading. I eventually fell back into my bad habit for like a month or two, and then, cycled back. But that's kind of how I got into the trading space, and learning that I'm basically always taking the effort that I want to put in, as long as it's a good effort, and I take the time to educate myself on the product, which in that sense is the charts and trading, that I'm going to get back more than if I just work for like a base without going above and beyond.
Yeah. So I guess like most people, right? I got involved into trading. It's like the quit your 9 to 5, retire your parents, buy a Lamborghini, and I'm sure everyone has a different story to that. We all fall for some sort of marketing trick. But I guess not everyone gets involved in trading, has some success with it, and then decides to start a company inside of trading, yours being Tradeify, right? So before we dive into Tradeify, what problem did you like identify in the industry? Or I guess, when I start businesses or revenue streams, it's always the first thing I ask myself is, if I'm going to do this, what problem is it going to solve? Because if it's not going to solve a problem, we aren't going to have customers. So I guess what problem were you trying to solve when you started Tradeify?
Yeah, so at the time, this was pretty much the end of the summer last year.
Yeah.
There wasn't, I don't even think, half as many firms as we have now. I feel like right after we launched, there was like a big birth of like tons of firms coming out. So it was mainly just a handful of firms, maybe hand and a half, so to speak. But some of the problems that we saw at the time were a lot of people getting to either the funded stage or a payout stage and realizing once they submitted that what happens next? Am I going to get paid? Is there it's almost like you're sitting there like with your hands crossed and praying that hopefully something gets approved, or you're looking at a product that they offer that's just there was a brand new product that just came out. I mean, the straight to funded. I'm not going to get into what happened with that firm back then, but you see a bunch of dandelions and roses, and then all of a sudden there's a little bit of a delay and things happening. And basically we saw that there was a lot of distrust, and I don't want to say distrust, but there wasn't a lot of full transparency.
No, I think that the word distrust nails it, right? Like when I first heard about direct to funded, I was like, this just makes no sense. Like there's just no way mathematically this adds up. I think the reality is it obviously does, right?
Right.
But
done correctly.
When done correctly, of course. So
yeah, I mean, we came in here to fix the problem of not only just like the straight to funded, because at first when we launched, we didn't have that plan at all. We had just your typical evals.
Yeah.
I think one thing that we did see was that there were companies that had certain plans that were cheaper upfront cost, right, with like an activation. And then there were other companies who had higher upfront cost, little bit easier rules, right? Harder rules on the cheaper plans, easier rules on the other, and different paths. So we actually came in and launched with both of them at the same time.
Right.
So not only did we see, the thing we talked about just earlier about, waiting and not being sure if you're going to get a payout, but also kind of being that one-stop shop. And in addition to that, we wanted to find other things in the space, and this is something that you kind of learn like as you go and get feedback, is what else do people want, right? Because before I started Tradeify and myself and the team, we were traders before, and a lot of firms, they say, built by traders for traders, typical bullshit line, to be honest.
I think it's got a bad ring to it now.
Yeah, it does. So I don't really like to say that. I don't think it's on our website at all. I hope not. If so, we got to take it off. But we did have that experience trading. We did it for years. I did, I had a whole community thing. So I was used to getting feedback from people, seeing things to change. And the only way you can really do that is by looking at social. But of course, once you start, by following up on that feedback.
Yeah, no, 100%. So early days, you launched it. You had a good early vision, the weather just absolutely.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
I thought something fell. Was that lightning before?
No,
or
it
thunder?
must have been lightning. Yeah, the weather, just typical Miami weather. Maybe we should leave. Anyway, it was. So the early vision for Tradeify was to, build trust in a space, bring products to market that, I guess, were around, probably just weren't done very well, and also just add another string to the overall eval business in terms of the existing firms that have been doing it a while, but add in that element of more trust, communication, etc. Right? Because I think a lot of firms do have that message now, like they all do it, but some of them don't do it as well, and I could actually agree with you on that. So
just to add to that too, I think it's important that what you have on the site is very clear and concise and to the point, and that there's nothing hidden in the I agree to the terms, and that shit.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Anything anybody sells, right?
I've done it, right, where I've bought products and I've suddenly traded it, and then suddenly, oh yeah, if you read our terms, you can't do this,
Yeah, and you don't find out till guess when you submit the payout, right? You put in all this time and effort, and you didn't see that because it wasn't on the site or front and center on the help center or something.
Look, I'm not going to
right?
make you call them out, but I will call them. I will call someone out. It's like I was one of my Fund of Future's first live traders, not through choice. I just made 25 grand, and that was the cap. And the reality is I trawled for that information, and the only place that was hidden in terms, right? So I agree with you. And look, my Fund of Futures, to give them the full credit, is that they've now increased that cap and they've corrected it, and it's now on their website and it's visible. But for the longest time, I'm a pretty savvy guy, and I have to go to the depths of terms and conditions, which no one reads, to find all the information. And whether people like that, agree with that or not, I think that's pretty scummy, right? And that's not me saying that my Fund of Futures are scummy, because ultimately I think they're a good firm now. I don't care about your opinion on it, no offense, but
I agree. I think I think the main things, everything really.
Yeah.
There's nothing in our funded trader agreement or the terms and conditions that's hidden, that's different, or not even different, has something extra compared to what's in the help center.
It's the way to be, Brett.
Transparent,
just be clear.
Open book.
Yeah. So look, I've started a few businesses. I know how hard it is that first year, right? 6 months of really getting it off the ground and grinding. What were the biggest mistakes in the early stages that you made?
Yeah, so I think, going back, you're always going to make mistakes starting any business, right?
100%.
And it's really just how you take those and build better going forward, or how do you correct them on the path of looking at it as a period of a jump pad, right?
Yeah.
You're going down temporarily, but as long as you fix the problem, guess what's at the bottom? A trampoline to go higher, right? To the next level. So some of the things that held us back were navigating the initial rules and ways that the straight to funded model, we call it lightning funded now, model worked. Right. It was brand new.
Yeah.
There was a firm right before that, just collapsed.
Yeah.
The reason that we were able to sustain ourselves is because we didn't make it super easy. I mean, there's nothing else, there's no other word to say really, right? We didn't make things super easy on that direct to funded, straight to funded model. And we constantly looked at the numbers and didn't say to ourselves, oh, we need to make more money, let's discount ourselves, right? Or let's do a bigger sale, we need to do this, we need to do that, this isn't looking good. We looked at the numbers, and at the end of the day, prop firms are data businesses.
Yeah.
Right? Of course they're trading businesses, but how do they operate? They operate based on the data.
Yeah.
So rather than collapsing and having to close and screwing over traders, we constantly looked at the data. But one thing I think I wish that we would have done is realized how big we got so fat, like would have gotten fat. Let me rephrase that. Realized how big that
fast?
we could grow so fast. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't realize how fast we would grow.
I mean, it's pretty, like, if you break it down, like in the last year that you've been around, like you're one of the top firms now.
Yep.
And especially when it comes to that direct to funded, the lightning funded route that you call it, it is pretty good. There's no if buts or maybes about that. You're paying out a monstrous amount of money to traders on a consistent basis. So, I would say, gun to your head, back then you would have not guessed you were here now.
No.
Exactly. So I think I get your point. You're saying we grew as fast as we did to the level we did in a year.
Yeah. Pretty much the only, again, I don't want to call it a mistake. And of course we've made mistakes, but there are little things, nothing crazy. But the biggest thing is I think I would have loved to have us have started on a better infrastructure. We started on things, I could just say like WordPress, simple sites, simple things. We didn't expect the business to grow. And obviously when you scale, you can't use backends that are, using third-party stuff. You need to be custom code, different things that allow you to scale the building and add on to the skyscraper, right? Because if you want to keep adding floors to the building, your foundation needs to be solid, right? You can't be three little pigs in here, right?
But you also want to move and scale, right? Like it's really normal for most businesses to start off in, using the proven method, the proven technologies, and then eventually go, hey, this is not going to work for us if we want to get to where we want to get to.
Yep.
We actually have to take a few steps back and rebuild and do this and change. The difficulty with that in this space, and again, I guess this is just my opinion, is that this space really doesn't like change. They're actually quite adverse to it. So it can be quite risky. That it could actually have been a bad thing that you grew so fast and to the point you did, because you could have had to make a lot of changes and change the way that people log in and the way that people buy accounts and do all of these things. And that could have had a negative effect. And then you're actually going back, and then you take even more backward steps. So I get it, and it's a little bit stressful. So
getting ahead of the backlog is important, because otherwise, like you said, those things start to pile up. And when you get too big and you have things piling up, you're never able to get ahead.
Look, there's some firms that have struggled with that.
Yep.
Like they've definitely chased their tail for far too long, and then I would say they're probably quieter than ever now, because the competition has evolved, and a lot of the newer firms now are support heavy focused. It's about communication, it's about transparency, it's about getting everything up front. And there's no surprise that those firms are now successful, including Tradeify, because people like that. Like you said earlier, when you were talking about selling, you're not selling a product off time, you're selling people, you're selling yourself,
the brand,
and you can get lost in the source of just saying, hey, buy the product, follow the rules, and get paid. Some people don't like that. They want to feel loved. They want to feel like they can pick up a phone, they can do whatever, because ultimately
they want to trust the product and the brand.
Exactly. And I always go back to, what I've said this online a few times now, is like, I won't really trade with the firm unless I can feel and touch and speak to owners or teams, because ultimately there are going to be issues at some point. We're in an industry where, we both have had followings from traders. And if we recommend products to people and it goes wrong, inevitably in this industry, traders are going to fuck up, make mistakes and do whatever. I need to be able to go, hey, what actually happened here? Let me set this straight. Or actually, you are in the wrong, and I think that you should correct it. So
you're a voice for them, and because you have more, you're established as well. You're able to talk and connect with like the owners and help, maybe get some changes done rather than the average person. That's to say though that a lot of firms, they need to be, and a lot of these new firms, I think they're doing well because, including ourselves when we started, because they're listening to the average person too, and not only people who have influence in the space. But yeah, I think to your point, a lot of it boils down to like the support you're getting, and not only fast support and answers, but actual resolved tickets, right? Because you could get a fast answer, hey, we're taking care of this, don't worry. Hey, can I get an update? Yeah, it should be updated this, and then days go back and forth of a ticket or email thread, right? And at the end of it, it's not resolved.
I'll give you a good example, right? I have two funded accounts with a firm, and I just can't trade them. They just will not allow me to trade them right now. Oh, the support ticket, blah, blah. but it's actually live chat. So you have to go through live chat to raise the ticket. And then I got given a live chat agent. They responded, and because they didn't respond in like 3 minutes, they closed the ticket. I'm like, well, it's obviously not resolved. Like,
terrible.
So that's
something like we're actively doing. So like we have like an AI bot that I know everyone's like, oh, AI bot, but like we have a
we'll get on to AI in the
okay.
future, so it's a good thing to speak about. So look, talking about crowded spaces, right, and the space in general, I always put myself in your shoes. How would I stick out, and what would I do to make difference? So let me ask you that. What is really different about Tradeify?
Yeah, I think what's different is, I mean, we kind of just said it. One thing that we really do is we listen to, even the little guys, right?
Yeah.
Someone brand new in the space. And I think that's actually really important to actually listen to the people who aren't traders, because at the end of the day, prop firms are the tool to get into trading for a lot of people with less risk, right? That's the main thing. You're able to come in, pay, anywhere from $40 to $100 for normal eval, and not have to, and then get access to 2K, 3K, 6K, and drawdown, whatever the case may be, without putting up thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's super important, and listening to those new people who come in is basically carving the path for us to reach the broader audience, which is outside of trading, just the average day person, right? Because of course we love traders to come in and people who are vets in the space. And you can definitely take more advantage, having a background and doing things to get payouts, etc. But it's really for the average person who's just starting to get into trading. So listening to the feedback of both new people, experienced people, vets like yourself, etc., I think is super important. And then timely responses. And then we talked about it. One of the first things we said, transparency, being able to go to the site and see what you're getting, right? There's no hidden shit. Yeah. There's nothing in the terms that someone's gonna find out after trading with us 2-3 months, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears that we see every day in the markets, right? Getting to that payout and then getting denied or something like that. So we set things up where once you request a payout, you already hit all the parameters. There's no reason that you're gonna get denied. The only reason that we deny now is if you did fraud, chargeback. That's it. Which of course nobody can defend that.
Why would you do that? Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned AI briefly, right?
Yeah.
Do you think AI is going to change the trading world? And
I think so. So we're working on a lot. One other thing, we're constantly innovating. Just to go back to the other question, on new tools and things that we can offer traders.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people like that, and it ties into this question too. So we're looking at things like we have our built-in trade journal, right, that you get with all the accounts for free. So we're looking at different ways that you can utilize and talk to that bot. So we don't have a bot for it now, but we're implementing one where you can go on your journal and you can say, what did I do wrong today, right? Yeah. Obviously, people like yourself and I, we can, yeah.
You didn't take any winning trades.
That bot we might be able to release tomorrow, I think. But we can look at a trade journal and we can get insights from it, right? Yeah, we don't have to ask that. But somebody new, and it's always about the new people and the beginners, and of course the experienced people too. They're going to look at it and they're going to say, what did I do wrong? And they need to have like some detail in the answer, of course, right? Not just like you lost, like you said, or don't trade this day. It should give some insights on the opposite end. You did this wrong, but I think that you should do this, or try to approach the next day like this and that, right? It's going to take the positives out of your trade history and the negatives, and try to formulate some type of I don't want to say advice, right? But habits or methods that it thinks are going to improve your trading rather than harm it. So recommendations. There we go. So that's one big thing that we're doing. Also with our in our support center, we have, when you submit a ticket, we actually have a staff member just dedicated to helping our Discord bot, our AI bot, and our intercom bot, which is for the help tickets.
Just learn.
That's pretty much all he does.
Right.
He just constantly feeds it new info, optimizes it, because AI is a great tool, but it has to be constantly optimized, right?
Yeah.
It's not really, of course it's like, self-learning, but of course there's things that slip through the cracks.
You have to correct it.
Exactly, and those wrong answers, they can cause some mayhem, especially in this space. People already like to complain about things, so if they're getting something back from the actual company, even though it's via a bot, it still has to be right. So actually, I think it's 65% of tickets that we have are successfully, not just resolved, successfully resolved just by our bot, which is like, It's honestly crazy to say.
So they don't even reach a human?
No.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I don't deal in support anymore as much.
Yeah.
But on the last, we have like a town hall, you know, where our whole team comes together and talks about things. I have to shout out Tim for taking over there and constantly improving that bot, because once I heard that stat, I was like blown away.
Yeah.
Because I think about how many people submit tickets and how many issues there are. There's a guy who had a 2-hour conversation with our bot.
Really?
Like, and I actually I didn't read the whole thing, but like read through it.
Transcript,
a candid, good like conversation that like had a good outcome at the end and everything. Like,
I'd be shocked at the amount of probably AI conversations I've had. Like outside of knowing it, like I mean, like I don't know, I've text someone and been like, hey, can I get a reservation for here? And it's probably AI. Like, because it is pretty advanced now.
Yeah.
You know, I get a ton of DMs on Instagram and Twitter, and like some of them I respond to just for lols, and most of the time I can spot if it's AI or not. But I'd be shocked if someone said, hey, all of this is actually AI and you didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's crazy. I mean, there's people, I just talked with someone today and they just told me, you know, they talk to ChatGPT more than anyone else now because, you know, it's helping them do.
Yeah, I talk to ChatGPT a lot. That and Grok, like depending on the type of conversation I need to have.
It's crazy, all the models. So
with AI, like obviously business related, do you think that AI will like take over traders' edge? Because obviously, like algo trading and like trading via an algorithm, like, you know, some of the most historic traders and investors of all time have you know, endorsed it.
Right.
But do you think that AI nowadays makes that route more attractive to some people? Because I'll say, a lot of people now ask me, is like, have you ever looked into like AI trading algorithms? And I just think like, yeah, you know, when we first got involved in it, this stuff was a scam. It's just the way it was, right? So do you think that that's more, I guess, readily available now? I don't really look into it too much, and I guess as a firm like yourself, you probably have to look into it a bit more. So what's your view on that?
I think that, like right now, what we do let people trade with like their own algo, but they have to own it.
Okay.
So I think it's a tough thing because it's a little tough thing to like police, because you can't have, let's say you have the best algo, right, and you sell it to everyone, and they're just trading that, printing off of it, right? Like, it's not really them. They're just
they're using my stuff.
They're kind of gaming the system a bit, right? Exploiting. So, you know, that there's one aspect of that, but then the other aspect of trading as a whole, you know, and AI into trading, I think it's tough because there have been like, and obviously the top hedge funds and firms, that's all they do really, right? Algorithmic trading for the most part. Of course, they have their money managers and everyone who's, you know, watching it actively over it, but day in and day out, the ones who are putting through those orders are most of the algos, right, throughout the day for a majority of the volume. So I think a lot of these AI tools, they still need, for at least a few years, are going to need like humans behind them, just because it's hard to analyze a Trump tweet or hear his tone and different things like that, you know, perfectly, right? There's so many things in the world right now that can tip the table.
Oh, it's really hard when he says one thing and then corrects it straight away. Yeah.
Within the same breath.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I think there's certain things that AI is good for. I definitely endorse it for analyzing data and getting feedback, you know, after the fact.
Yeah.
But certain things like active trading, unless you have like a refined, you know, strategy down, and I don't know if that's for prop or whatever the case may be, because it might need its own rule set. You know, with prop, you can't technically tweak some, you know, you can do a strategy within one, right? But
a lot of algo trading is actually just like building larger positions over time.
Right.
So
in prop, not going to work because day trade, it's just...
Yeah, and day trading, because, and also most of them are just like either market making orders or, you know, I guess there may be some short-term scouting, but I just, you know, every large hedge fund manager would probably say there's money in the market long-term, not short-term.
Right.
So they build positions over days, weeks, and I can imagine that in most prop situations, this just doesn't work.
Right.
So
the swing trading aspect is interesting in prop because, you know, in traditional, when you go live, especially, you need, you know, when you hold overnight,
stupid amount of money.
Insane, like, you know, what, 15 times?
It's 20,
10 to 15?
I think on NinjaTrader and most tier one brokers,
it's like 16K for
17,
NQ?
It's like 17, 20K, depending on who it is and what rates they have.
Right, depending on what Trump said the day before.
Yeah, I mean,
it depends
look,
on the volatility, right?
If like tier one news, typically they all just like increase the margin requirements to get everyone out of longer term positions if they're over leveraged.
Right.
But yeah, I would say like averagely an NQ mini is 20K.
Yeah.
Averagely. Yeah.
So I mean that, and then just during the day, it's 1K.
1K.
Right? We're between 1 to 1.2 sometimes.
I think 1K is like the standard now.
Yeah.
Above 1K, you're probably not getting a good deal.
Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing for a prop. We don't want to encourage you to know, hey, of course on sim it's sim, right? So you technically could hold overnight, but that doesn't correlate to a real market.
Yeah, the sim, like I always say this to people that game prop. It's like, great, but it's all well and good you staying up till 3 a.m. to trade Asia. But when you want to slap 5 NQ minis during Asia with your real money, you'll quickly realize like there is no liquidity there.
Yeah.
You know, like you're gonna have to limit in, limit out. And the times that you take your stop outs, they're going to be pretty big stop outs. Because you don't get, during a New York session, you might get the average 2-tick, 3-tick slip. Like during Asia, you're going to get like 1 to 2 point slippages sometimes. So like, and especially when you try and trade large size, like, and I've proved this several times by trying to trade like 10, 20 like contracts, you either have to build positions and scale out of them.
Right.
Because the moment you start to scale out of them, you start to cascade out of them. So like, it's really hard. But sim is the learning path to being able to trade a real market. You should build the habits, you should build the discipline, you should build the consistency and the profit, right? And get paid for it along the way is the whole reason of prop. And then use that money to transition it into live, right?
Yep.
So
taking payouts and putting them towards long-term investing or swing trades is definitely the goal, and I think that's the best thing. And like I was just talking about this before we started, but like one thing that now that I've stopped like full-time trading, I mean I love trading, like I'm still trading, right? But building Tradeify and working on it has allowed me to like take more swing positions and like focus more on just setting levels, doing things, and not having to be day to day locked in, right? And I think that's not to say that you shouldn't day trade at all, right? But the goal should be again to take that money and put it towards again longer term investments.
I would love
things
to be able
have
to
your money working for you while you sleep. Yeah,
I'd love to be able to throw 25 NQs around during the night. Like hold it overnight, but like that's a lot of money,
right? Not and especially when you wake up and see that
it's $500,000 to lock up in a broker. And look, as great as all of the brokers that I use are, I don't trust them with $500,000 of my money consistently.
Right.
There are horror stories in the past of brokers going bust or blowing up or whatever, and all it takes is one bad actor. And I've been bitten too many times, and with large amounts of money to really leave any of my money long term because it means too much to me. Hopefully I get to a point where I can just throw $1 million at a brokerage and forget about it and just trade and swing trade and do whatever, because like I'd love to be able to long the generational bottom of NQ and hold it to a new high. Like in April, I would have loved to have done that, but I can't. And then I can't get long throughout the day because it's bad trade management for me and it's, whatever. From a buying perspective, hey, I love it when Palantir is up 2x from April lows. I love it.
Yeah.
Like it's great. Like I'm chilling, but as a day trader, it's really hard. And that's where I guess I've always started to play more like long-term investments, more option swing plays and stuff like that. And I know that I've asked you this question before, but not on camera. Why do you think there's not an options prop?
I think there is like one, I don't know if there is one. I think there's one, but I think that it's tough to do options because number one, I think trading's already hard.
Yeah.
I don't think setting someone up for options with like, and of course having rules is good, right? They're like training wheels or they're guidelines. It's not really rules, right? It's not something that should be negative in prop. But trading options is already hard enough. You have time working against you, you have dates, you pretty much, you can day trade it, but there's not volume really behind a lot of the contracts. You'd have to limit it to like certain stocks, certain contracts, certain dates, right?
No zero DTEs.
No zero DTEs. You'd have to do like, there's too many factors that go into play. So I think it's too complicated. Now that may be saying, hey, the space is ripe for taking, but in reality, I think options are the worst thing to trade, especially for new people. And I think prop is mainly for newer traders or people who are just coming in the space, or even intermediate, advanced traders to come in and leverage their capital. And the best way to do it is, I think, right now, futures. I don't think options, again, just too many things working against you, but it just doesn't work. There's too many complicated things on the back end for a prop to have to manage, and then have to communicate again with
I'll say this: I'm pretty good at navigating most markets, and even options fucks me up sometimes.
Yeah,
like I'll buy the wrong contract and realize that I'm getting absolutely fucked by time.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, this was a lot. This is a loss.
The not only that, but you have to look at the open interest. You have to see all right, you might think oh, this stock's gonna go to 100 and 15, right? And it's at 100 right now, but there's no volume on that contract.
Yeah.
And you actually, it gets near there and there's no liquidity in it. You have a $2 spread, which is $200 on an option. And you're
I've lost.
I don't know what to sell. You go to sell.
Right,
yeah.
but I've lost money. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had it so many times where I've been right on options contracts and I've lost money.
Yeah.
So I'm unless they're super long term, 3 to 6 months for me, I just don't even fuck with them anymore.
This is, I'll say it quick because I used to do options all the time. My number one tip for options is pick a strike that you will be at with at least half the time to your expiration. So for instance,
you're in the money, yeah.
So you're in the money. You want to be in the money with half the time left to expiration. So for instance, if stock's at 100 and you pick you want to do a 120 call, if you think it'll be there by October, and we're in October right now. If you think it'll be there in November, right? Pick December.
Yeah.
So you want to be in the money with half the time left. That's the best tip I can give anyone who's actually just trading options.
I actually had that during the tariff drop. I was gonna buy bi-weeklies, and one of my options friends was like, "No, buy monthlies."
Yep.
He was like, "Buy monthlies."
Monthlies, more volume as well.
And he just said the bi-weeklies. He's like, you'll struggle to get out of them.
Yep.
He was like, and if you buy monthlies and it gets there, you'll be in the money. And if it goes a lot further, you'll make a lot more.
Yep.
And we went a lot further in 2 weeks. I would have made about half the amount of money on the bi-weeklies.
Yeah.
All in.
The best part about it is when you're in the money too, and it chops around you're already at your target, let's say. You're not really losing anything because you're at your target. You pick the right strike.
Time's not fucking you.
Time's not fucking you as much. Yeah. Although it does hurt when you get a big red candle, though, to see all that in the money value go out of the money, that intrinsic value go away.
And then time
anyway, you're about to make me start an options prop now. We're talking about it too much, all right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. I've always thought about it, why isn't there? Because I don't know enough about options, and I would always say to anyone is, if you don't know enough about futures, limit your downside, fuck around on some futures props. There's some really cheap ones out there to, bust out the wheels.
Yeah.
And you'll figure it out. And then there's a bunch of good ones out there where you can then use that to go and make some money. And I would love to, screw around with some option stuff without losing silly amounts of money.
Hey, everything's still on the table. So we'll see a year from now.
Interesting. So speaking about prop more so, but where do you think retail trading and just prop in general is heading in the next year or so?
Yeah, so I think retail trading it's growing month over month, year over year for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with the power of social media and just investing in general. I think the value of the dollar, more and more people are learning I have to be invested, or I have to learn how to make my money kind of work for me.
Yeah.
And of course, a way to get into that, even just investing in general, I think people, when they go to do some long-term investments, they're doing more research because they're putting some time in, or they're seeing different things on social media, reels and different things. They're getting educated. So it's almost giving them that push to start the first steps towards learning how to possibly get on a chart.
Yeah.
And when you're on the chart and you start looking at it, it can be really addicting stuff, right? And you want to use that in the good way, right? Addicted to actually learning it, not gambling it, which I know a lot of people fall into the bad habits of. But
I think statistically, trading gives you a higher dopamine spike than gambling.
I think it's because, and I use this same thing all the time. You'd rather you go to anyone on the street, or you go to family, you go to a family gathering and stuff. I'd rather say, I made $10,000 trading Amazon than I made $10,000 betting on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Well, they already know I'm going to lose that bet anyway, so that's a lie.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So it's like, a lot of people say it's educated gambling, right?
Yeah.
It's like a higher level of it. But I think retail trading is growing. So in the same, on the other hand, rather, retail prop is going to grow. You know, we just had Kraken, buyout, breakout, you know, in crypto. So, you know, these big companies, they're obviously taking note of it. Robinhood, they're launching like social investing, which is going to spark some more buzz and people getting engaged and learning. So Robinhood also launched futures not too long ago, a few months. Yeah. Their margin's crazy. It's kind of like you were saying. I think their one contract is the overnight, which is really insane. Because you look at like Ninja, 1K for an NQ.
Yeah.
There's a 16K just to even have during the day.
Yeah, it's silly, right?
But yeah, it's a growing market. I think it's just going to keep going. I don't even want to call it like a bubble, because it's not. It's just more people are learning about money. And I think also our generation and the generation before and right after are getting more acquainted with, again, learning that they need to put their money to work. And a lot of social media is, I want to get this Lambo, I want to do all that stuff. But then there's the other side of people who just look at it like, sure, they can do that, but I want to set my family up, right? Or I want to build long-term wealth, right? I don't want to get rich, I want to get wealthy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And I think that trading just generally upticked during COVID.
100%.
You know, like all of the, I guess, silly option stuff that went on during COVID with Robinhood.
Everybody was locked at home. They had nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of people just wanted to do more, earn more money. And I think a lot of people got addicted to the dopamine, addicted to it, thinking that they had edge. And now some people are stuck in it. And some people had success, and obviously some people filtered out. But I think generally people became more open to the financial markets being able to be traded by them, right? Not by like just, the hedge funds win, it's only those guys and I'm just the sucker, I guess. So
it opened up the path to say like the average Joe can do this, right? Or anyone can learn eventually how to do this. And that is the beauty of trading. You don't need a degree to get started. You don't need anything except I was going to say social, but depending where you're at, you might not even, need, I don't know.
Yeah, no, some people I think, I don't know all countries, but I think most countries require you to have, you
need some type of like
tax identifier.
Yeah, tax identification, right? But
they're not going to let you make
but everybody has one.
Getting it, yeah, of course.
That's the point. Like anybody can get started. You just need an internet connection.
The pool guy's here.
He can start.
Yeah, yeah.
In a year from now, he might be doing what we're doing, just sitting here.
Yeah, maybe. True. Hey, get in here. Okay, so look, I found it really hard. I actually spoke about this on the Tradeify stream today, right? When I first got started in trading, I really found it hard to switch off, right? In an industry that never sleeps. And I guess now I've transitioned into having, businesses in the space. I, again, really found it hard. I went through that whole journey again of putting myself in the shoes of people that don't sleep and being, in an industry where people are quite demanding and the industry is permanently online. Like it is, whether it's the weekend, whether it's Monday to Friday, whether it's at the close, throughout Asia, whatever, you've got customers all around the world. How have you handled that personally? Because you lead Tradeify, you're the owner and CEO. How have you found that adjustment to being, the leader of a business that just never is offline?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started my first trading business in, I think it was like 2018, end of 2017, 2018. And I did the whole Discord thing, education thing. So I've always been accustomed to being, I don't want to say the spotlight, but being someone who everyone looks to ask questions and give feedback, whether that's positive or negative.
Yep.
Obviously the negative, it's tough, right?
I enjoy it.
I do too. I love, it's funny because there's different social media platforms, right? There's X where, let's start with, there's Instagram where you can post something and sure, you could maybe go in the comments and read through it, but a majority is just that person or that piece of content speaking to you.
Yeah.
There's no other conversation to be shown, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of hide behind that and see other things, right?
I don't really respond to anything on Instagram.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's the thing too. But then you look at web platforms like X, immediately you're shown usually the replies and everything. When you click on it, you know, everything is kind of on display for you there. There's a lot more banter, hate, and a lot of negative feedback and stuff. So it's a little bit, it's more, I don't want to say challenging, but it's more, it's just public and more transparent to see like, this isn't just the good, but there's also bad.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it's you like it, right? You like to be able, it's almost like you're being challenged, or like you're able to take some, because a lot of the negative feedback and negativity that a lot of people say is typically incorrect.
Yeah.
Right? They just want to stir the pot, or a lot of people are just jealous, or they
I saw the
just love to hate on people.
I saw the funniest video the other day from Q Banks of all people. Actually, it said the trading niche.
I saw this.
Where
yeah.
rich people are called broke and
broke
people are called rich.
Yeah.
Because the reality is like,
he's just sipping a coffee there,
he's
right?
just sipping coffee. Because the reality is like, you know, there are probably hundreds of people in Miami pretending to be a successful trader online,
Yep.
and I've never heard of any of them. Like, but somewhere to a niche audience, they're the guy, right? And they're just getting tricked, and that's the really shit part of this industry, right? Like, there's a lot of really bad information out there.
Anyone can trade, but also anyone can fake it.
Anyone can fake it. That is just the facts, right? But the reality is like, you can't fake being a good person. You can't fake being able to share the stuff and actually helping people. And, you know, I've always maintained the stance of like, the services I provide, would they be good for naive Kane that got involved in the space 10 years ago?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, I don't want to do it.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that really keeps me doing it at this point. I don't need the money. The money that it brings in is obviously nice, but it's
a byproduct.
It's a byproduct,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm doing it because I enjoy it. And there are times when I don't enjoy it and I don't do it. And I just be like, hey, I'm going to dip and I'm going to go to the Maldives for a week, like whatever. But like, I will always stand by like doing it for the naive Kane in this, you know, when I joined the industry, when it was fucking shit, to be honest with you. But look, what do you know, I've got my own view on it. What do you think a lot of traders get wrong in this space?
A lot of traders get wrong that they are going to, I mean, everybody says it. I feel like whenever you hear podcasts or advice online, it's the same thing, but it really is like that they think that they can get to the level that they see online in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody is going to be successful in a short period of time long term.
Yeah.
Right? So what does that mean? You might have a quick hit. You might get that quick hit of dopamine, right? You might hit big on a trade, different things, whatever it is. But if you don't have the long-term mindset and the strategy behind that, and it was just a one-off, you're gonna lose it just as quick, right? One day. It might not be right away. You might last you might be a fucking damn good trader January to November.
Yeah.
December comes around,
And you get whacked.
wiped.
Yeah.
All of it gone, right? So
Yep.
I think it's important to have a good quote, process over profits.
Yeah.
Right? And work on your process first before, you know, you get into oversizing and over leveraging, which is two of the most common things that traders do.
I think the core of that message is good, but I do think there comes a point where if the money matters to people, they should take it off the table. Like, I don't get me wrong, I believe in the process over the profits, just as much as anyone else. But there have been times in my life where I've been in trades and I'm like, oh, it's probably going to trade here, and then it gets halfway there, and I'm like, I would fucking hate to lose this money now.
Yeah.
Like, and
well, my process,
and I take it off.
My process, so actually mine is a little different meaning. I'm more so, I know what you're saying, and I think that is typically what people say. When I say process over profits, I more so mean before you look to make a big profit, make sure you have a process down.
Yeah.
Rather than follow, I know what you mean, because a lot of people say, if you don't follow your game plan exactly, it's not gonna work in the long run.
Yeah.
And I think that's a common mistake too, and I agree with what you said, because there could be a trade. A lot of people say a 2-to-1 R to R.
Yeah.
Right? This is a big topic in the space. People say you should have a high R to R.
Yeah.
If you're always taking let's say you have a 2-to-1. If you're always taking the trade off at 1-to-1, are you really trading a 2-to-1? No, right? So it's tough to say like I'm always going to be a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 trader if you're constantly adjusting it. But I think you have to constantly adjust. You have to adapt to the market. Like you just said, you might be afraid to lose some of the money that you just made halfway to your target, or you might see that the market's chopping a different way at that level, and you say, all right, I think it's going to go now back to break even or even below to my stop loss. I'm just going to cut this trade and look for the next one.
Yeah.
And is that a bad thing? No, because you're still profiting. You're cutting a trade. Sure, you didn't let it run to the full target, but you're adapting. And I think in the market, you have to always adapt, because what are we looking at every day? Adaptions every 1 second, 1 minute, right?
I took a short today, and yeah, I kind of wanted it back to the 10 a.m. opening price, whatever. But like, it was such a slog down that like after like 45 minutes of being in it, I just took the money off, and then it ran a little bit more, and it deviated, it come back on me, whatever. But I was just like, I was in it too long. I wasn't really feeling it. You know, Kane probably 6 months ago would have been like, nah, we'll just let it run, like, whatever, I don't care. But
close
now,
the broker, go away.
like, I haven't had the best year. Like, I had a really good January. I caught most of the moves down with the tariffs, but practically since April, which is most of the year at this point, I've had a rough period on the way up, right? Like, I'm not naturally the most bullish person. I've made good money, but I've not made the fuck you money that I've made consistently the last year, or, you know, the first half of the year, when we're range bound, we're consolidating, we're not really going anywhere. That's when I really thrive, or like really expansive markets to the downside. If we had infinite bid lower, I'd be a trillionaire. I'm telling you that. Like, I could
but you know, I have to tip my hat to that, because you realize that.
Yeah.
And you know, I can perform well now, and I cannot, I'm not going to perform well at a different time, right?
Yeah.
And the ability to look at the market and realize that is important, because then otherwise you're going to be like the average Joe who gets a quick hit, and then they trade the market the next month when it's totally different, and boom, it's gone. So I know you're still trading, but obviously you're not putting on the size that you typically would in a favorable market that you typically like to.
And does that make me a bad trader?
No.
No.
Makes you a better trader.
And actually,
because you realize it.
I personally agree with that, because look, Kane 5 years ago, if I would have had a good 3 months, I would have been like, I've got to finish the year better than ever. I
have 5x my money. I can double it now and be at 10x.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I did a 5x. I only have to make like 100% more, and then I'm there. I just need to size up. Like, and all the times that I've got really emotional about money in those aspects, I have fucking blown it.
Like, and it's the same thing to prop. It correlates. You have to know when to put your pedal. And this is just trading in general. It's not even prop, right? You have to know when to put your pedal to the metal, and when to just stay on the brakes. Yeah. Even put it in park.
Yeah.
Just stay there, right? Like, just chill, watch everything. Don't even, I just said like put it in park, but even that is important, right? Because you're literally parking your money. You're not even able to go if you did, push down on the pedal, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know the times that you can trade the best, analyze the markets. And a lot of people, they might not even know that yet. So I think that's the toughest thing when you first start. You don't know what your edge is, right? So that's the toughest thing. And I think that's what prop is good for too, is learning what is my edge with having a lower risk.
Yeah. I've said this a few times. It's really easy to wake up and long gold.
Yeah.
When it turns, you'll have mud on your face, And especially recently. I mean, gold's been on a tear.
Oh man, absolute ripper. It was like 4K?
I think it's 4K. I mean, I saw some video from jewelers in New York saying they think that gold is going to go to 10K by next year. I mean, this is just mania.
I have one of the Robinhood gold cards.
Oh yeah.
And it was worth $500 at the time. $500. Right? It's like $1,200 or $1,500, something like that now.
I'd trade that shit and buy
melt it.
Buy it back next year. But yeah, like honestly, gold is on such a tear. Like jewelers have been melting like certain gold watches down that aren't worth a lot, but like their scrap metal is worth more than their retail, like their actual selling price. They've been melting it down and selling for scrap.
It's funny because gold was in like 1 year range or 2 year range.
Yeah, that like 2.5K top.
Yeah.
Like it went up, but then it ranged down, then it ranged up. I truly never thought it would break that high.
There's all the metal maxis, and they're like, die hard. They're like, oh no, don't buy Bitcoin. Like gold's gonna go, and like they're probably fucking ecstatic right now.
It's an old guy named Peter. I don't know. Actually, it's not Peter Brand, but there's another guy.
I think Peter Brand loved gold too, though.
Sure, maybe. But there's another old guy, and he would just bash Bitcoin all day long, and was just like, buy gold, it's going to 5K by next year. But he's fucking right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's only a matter of time. There comes a time like and especially when a range is building that long, when the breakout does happen, whether it's to the upside or downside,
Yeah.
it's going to be a
It'll
multi-month move.
Yeah,
right?
it will. It won't be. It'll be quick to start with, and then it'll be slow, and then
Yep.
it'll be drawn out, and everyone will be like, gold's going to the high. It will, just like anything, it's emotion. It will really fuck with the emotions of
Yep.
the average gold trader. So like when you sit there and say like, you know, people that are waking up and just longing gold every day and making money, it's great. You don't have edge.
Right.
That's not edge to just long gold at the
Right.
open every day.
That's not a strategy.
Yeah, and when it turns, then what do you do? Because you're going to try and sell it every day, and it will rally and then sell.
Or you
off
might
hard.
still try to long it every day
Exactly.
and just eat up all those gains that you had. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough.
Very, very true. Okay, we'll start to wrap up. I'm going to end on a bit of a light-hearted quick-fire round.
all right, so
You ready? What was the first trade you ever placed?
first trade I ever placed, I think it was Intel shares.
God,
I think
they're like worthless now.
back when they were like
Good money.
the only company probably of like
okay.
chips and computers. Yeah.
Yeah, they're worthless now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Trump just in
Oh,
the
yeah,
US,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
back.
they're
They're back.
back. Yeah, they went
No,
up.
they're back.
They were worthless.
I think this was like when I was like, I think it was like 13 or 14. I think I had like a custodial and like I bought like a share or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the best trade you ever placed?
Duolingo.
Yeah. You got an IPO, right?
No, no.
Oh.
It was just a
Options play after.
options.
It went up like 5x after the IPO, right? Maybe more.
They had a crazy earnings and
okay.
then they had a big dip and I bought the
Okay, good.
biggest trade.
trade,
We
yeah.
won't talk about it.
Okay, worst trade.
Worst trade. On my birthday, Shopify calls. Pretty much did the exact thing that we talked about that was bad. It was like 200K.
Oh, shit. Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee.
You're not an energy drink guy?
I used to be a White Monster guy.
Oof.
And then now I'm
That shit's
trying to be healthier.
That's just like crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Light or dark mode on the charts, not your phone, your charts.
Dark mode.
Dark mode. That's crazy. I feel like I'm the only person that uses light mode. I like to be like alert when I trade, and light mode keeps me
Brightness all the way up on dark mode.
all the way. Oh, really? So you're like trying to go to sleep.
So I'm like halfway there.
What's one trading rule you break more often than you should, or did? You don't
Did
trade that much.
Oversizing.
Yeah.
Kind of like we said before, just when you hit a good trade, thinking, all right, let me double this now. I just doubled this, let me keep going. Not knowing when to stop. That's the rule.
Yeah, true. If Tradeify had a theme song, what would it be? The Looney Tunes? No, I'm kidding.
This one's a tough one.
That's right. Oh no.
God's plan.
Banger. Banger of a song. Banger of a song, for sure. If you weren't running Tradeify today, what would you be doing?
Probably just the same thing.
Trading.
Besides just trading.
Yeah.
Still trading.
YOLOing options at the
Yeah.
close. What's the biggest flex Tradeify's pulled off so far?
I think $80 million in payouts in a little over a year is probably one of our biggest flexes, but really the biggest flex is not, it's hard to find a bad thing about us online.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is tough to find nowadays because there's just so much bullshit out there, right? So listening to customers and, really actually taking the feedback and implementing new tools.
Yeah. Finish this sentence. Trading is
The best thing that you can ever do, but the hardest at the same time.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's a good one to end on, to be honest. What should traders look out for next in Tradeify? This is not a quick fire question. This is just a question.
So the next things that we have coming are, we're looking to expand, and these will be coming in the next few months, outside of trading as well. Tradeify, I'd like people to look at as a brand, not a prop firm.
Right.
In the trading space, of course, but look for new tools and different things to come out over the next few months, as well as some moves outside of trading. I can't get into some of the details here, but then I think something that we're just starting to do, these competitions and things to get new people in. And I know you got an opinion on some of those. The Grand Cup is something.
No. I gave you my opinions in private, as well as, I would stand by it. I've said the same thing publicly. I think the competitions are good if done correctly. If they're able to be YOLO'd and everyone can trade 5 minis on 20 products, whatever, it's just who times the bottom of the day. I don't necessarily think that translates into a good trader long term. And actually, I think the Tradeify Grand Cup is a good thing, right? Like, especially considering the timing of your announcement, with Ninja Trader announcing their cup and then you announcing it, and maybe you don't want everyone to know, but I'll say it. You were left scrambling at the last hour to really adjust things to make it more appealing, because Tradeify kind of beat you to the post.
Yeah.
Ninja beat Tradeify to the post.
But we're partnered with them for it, right?
I know,
it's exclusive through them.
Which made it
It works, but it's also it's great. The different departments. So hey, but we're super happy. They got the bet. There's days like today. I know this is going to come out later, but there was another broker that. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not saying Ninja Trader off. I love those guys more than you. Trust me. I know they're the backbone of your business, but ultimately the facts are the facts. But I think that you guys have adjusted to it well. It's free for Tradeify users.
Yep.
It's basically the cost of entering is the cost of a Tradeify account to you, more or less. So it's not really costing. It's not really costing you. You're not. How do I word this? Sorry. The cost it's costing the user is actually the cost of running it.
Right.
And the prize pool is your price. It's just money you're putting up for it.
We don't plan to operate. We don't plan to make money from it, right? It's just to get people into the space, educate people, get them into Tradeify, learning what we're about. Yeah. People who are outside of the trading space to say, hey, let me take a chance on this. $30, or hey, maybe this is the extra push. I get an eval. It's almost, I don't want to say BOGO, but buy one, get entered.
Yeah,
right?
I said it online. I think the way that you enter to this, if you're not a Tradeify user, is you buy an eval. Yep. And you store it away, and then you trade and grind your teeth down in the cup. And if you lose it, you bail out of the cup. You then have an eval. And it was probably a little bit more than $35, but if you basically get an eval, which you could then go on to make actual money with, if you don't make it to the cup.
Right.
We said about this before. I said about this was, you could actually follow your system in most of these competitions and be good and still lose.
Exactly.
And I think that's the bad part about it, because there's so many people gaming the competition and all of these things. And actually, I think TG Capital, Tyler, tweeted about this really nicely yesterday or the day before. I would really like a prop firm to run like a longer term competition.
So I saw that actually tweet as well. The only thing is, like, there's like the Robbins Cup.
Yeah, but
and you see that and it just falls off, right? Kind of the thing in this market, and maybe we'll look into it, doing a longer one. And that can definitely be a thing, but the biggest issue with it is, in prop especially, a lot of the users, they're not disciplined to take things right away, the full 6 to 12 months or even 3 to 6. So we'd love to come out with a product that does that. But also, people don't want to wait that long to win a prize. The way that we can do it now is, and it's great that you gave, we talked in private, like you said, and you gave us feedback about, the change. Having the eval be a part of it and getting that too is good, because there's no longer just one path and, you're competing against other people. There's 2 paths. You have an account where you're you against the market, or you against you, and then you against other traders. So you're getting both of those now. So if we still do that, it opens the door for a longer term competition. Yeah. And that's something that I wanted to highlight. That's how we just got into this. More trading competitions. Okay. If we want to cut this whole thing out and go back to that the question, what can you expect?
We don't cut things here, so we don't.
More trading competitions you can expect. But yeah, we definitely want to come up with some things like that. And those, if there's somebody who can prove themselves over 6 months, right? That's somebody who we take, beyond just the prop, right? We take them over to actually the live side, and we actually back them with like real capital. Yeah. Of course, we have the normal rules, and every prop has these normal rules where, when you get moved live, this is what you get behind you and capital, and, we'll scale you up, stuff like that, right? But if there's a single trader who survives and proves themselves over 6+ months, that's somebody like we want to bring on the team.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, trade our capital under us.
I think this is plus EV for everyone involved.
Yep.
Right? Like, if you are a social media guy that wants to grow, you go and take a stab at it, and if you do well, you gain a following out of it. if you're someone that can consistently prove themselves in a market, there'll be opportunities off the back of it because you'll be able to prove that you were consistent in the public domain on a platform that you can't cheat, you can't game consistently. And if you do game it, you're just going to get kicked out because it's not a short time thing, it's a long time thing. So I think the upsides to it are only outweighed by potential costs, right?
Yep.
Of running it for a prolonged period of time, licenses, data fees, etc. But like as someone that I'm not a massive fan of competitions. I don't really want to enter the Robbins Cup. Not that the fees are astronomical, right? And for
the
me,
leverage is crazy. I'm in it.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So like for me, I would say this: if there was a competition that I could pay $30 to stay a part of every month and cover licenses, data fees, etc., and have someone else like completely police it, what's the downside there?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. There's no downside there. And then, I don't know, maybe that's a whole, thing, the Tradeify Championship, World Championships, like I'm giving you business ideas now, but anyway.
Hey, we're going to have March Madness coming up. That was, originally, the first one was supposed to be in March, which is crazy to say because we're in fucking November. We're about to be in November.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you'll see them. I think we're going to try to do them quarterly, and then, yeah, at least we'll think about doing some type of biannual, yeah, biannual. Something.
Yeah, something longer term, just so that, because I said this on the Ninja Stream the other day. I don't anticipate doing well in the Ninja Trader Cup because I am not the type of person to force my trades, and if I do force my trades, I typically do pretty bad. So
you need a longer period of time for your system to work out.
Exactly, yeah.
And
so
like Tyler said on Twitter, or I don't know if it was him, but the tweet. You're forcing people, was this a tweet? You're forcing people to trade in that 1 week or 2 weeks. And I get it, it's tough. So like for us, that was another reason why we didn't want to just make it 1 week, at least open it up to 2 weeks. And still, that's not a lot of time. But in addition to that, make it another, round, different things. And that comes with extending it too. I think having a couple months behind your belt of trading proves you, like you said, much more than just a shootout over, a couple weeks or a month. So we're going to learn from this one. And I think a lot of people are going to like it. We're going to make it definitely entertaining. We're going to make it a lot of, we're going to be posting a lot of stats from it. So you'll actually, I don't think we posted this yet, but you'll actually be able to click on the top people and see their journal. Okay. Like a snapshot of it. So you can kind of see.
I'm not filling out my journal.
So hopefully, well, no, like the automated one. The stats. So hopefully the first place guy just isn't a one hit wonder and has some trades behind him. But people will be able to tell. You know what I mean? I think that adds a little bit of an element to things, and it gives you a little bit more validity. You might come in third place, but you traded damn well good over 30 trades rather than somebody who just took 3.
Yep.
And held it the whole time. So.
Well, look, I think we wrap it there, mate, to be honest with you. I think this was good. It was informative. We covered a lot of topics. Covered Tradeify, yourself, and I guess what's next for you guys. So appreciate the time. Thank you. And I guess if you guys at home want to keep up with everything Tradeify, we'll link everything down in the description. Next thing, I guess, for both of us is the Grand Cup. I'll be trading that. Join Team Kane, right?
Team Kane. It possibly could earn you a couple extra dollars. I don't know.
Who knows? I know we will make extra dollars. Anyway, so join Team Kane. Brett, thank you. And yeah, guys, check out everything Tradeify are doing down below.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on. And see you later, everybody.
Ciao.